Ladies and gentlemen, damas y caballeros, if you can't tell by my channel, I am a frugal person. But frugality isn't a phase of life that I'm in right now. It's not something that I'm doing so that later on in life I can live a different lifestyle. No, frugality is my way of life. It's how I live my life, and it's how I'll always live my life when I'm 40, when I'm 50. To be honest, I'll be frugal when I'm in the ground. Well, money probably won't do me much good at that phase of life, but maybe it will. It seems like the billionaires are betting on it. But as a frugal person, I have many habits that help me live a frugal life, habits that I will carry on for as long as I'm alive. And in this video, I want to share some of those habits. So let's begin. Habit 1, not falling for the hype. Ladies and gentlemen, in this video, I'm gonna be brave because there's something I think that we can all agree on, but nobody is brave enough to say due to the fear of being shamed, due to the fear of being ostracized by society. So here it goes. Girl Scout cookies are all hype. It is a battleground right now at the grocery store, ladies and gentlemen, with these little girls pressuring, or better yet, harassing innocent, unsuspecting shoppers to buy their overpriced and, let's just be real, mediocre cookies. They ain't bad, but they are the most hyped thing in the world, and most things in this world are just hype. So the first frugal habit for life is not falling for the hype. So many things in this world are just hype that we spend so much money on that we believe they're good without forming our own opinion on. Things like Apple products, Chinese balloons, and of course, the McRib are just hype. Falling for the hype can be a very costly thing that makes you spend a lot of money. And as a frugal person, I form my own opinions and don't just buy into certain ideas because they're hyped up. And let's just be real. Girl Scout cookies are not as good as people say they are. Habit 2, treat treats as treats. I love candy, ladies and gentlemen, and some of my favorite candies are gummy bears, gummy worms, and peach rings. I have a very refined palate, but the thing about candy is that candy is just a treat. Candy is something that you eat on occasion because you can't live off a diet of just candy. You have to have nutritious things like avocados and apples in order to live a healthy life. And this is the same when it comes to your finances. So the second frugal habit for life is treat treats as treats. So many people indulge themselves in treats. It's as if their financial diet consists of only candy. So many people spend their money left and right on treats, treating themselves to things like takeout multiple times a week or the daily latte to go, which ends up costing them a lot of money and creates this unsustainable financial life. We need to treat treats as treats and not have a financial diet that just consists of treats. And as a frugal person, I make sure to limit my treats because when you're constantly treating yourself, what happens is 1, you end up not appreciating anything, and 2, you create an unsustainable financial life. So remember to treat treats as treats and not have a financial diet that only consists of candy. Habit 3, understand what you have. A few months back, I visited the country that I lived in for 2 years, Ecuador, just to visit. And when I was there, I had this realization of how much I've gotten used to living a comfortable, luxurious life. Because I have gotten so used to things and luxuries like hot showers with good water pressure, plumbing where the poop goes down 100% of the time, and clean tap water. And believe it or not everyone has those things. Those things aren't necessary for survival, but they're just extra luxuries that we often take for granted. And the third frugal habit for life is understand what you have. We often view a luxurious life as having a bunch of material wealth, But we often overlook all the luxuries we have and just take them for granted. We take for granted luxuries like clean drinking water or indoor plumbing. And the reality is, if you have those luxuries, you live one of the most luxurious lives on the planet. You have to understand the luxuries that you do have and not just take them for granted. And as a frugal person, I am constantly reminding myself of how luxurious my lifestyle is. And I'm constantly reminding myself not to take for granted the luxuries that I have. Because when I remind myself of that, I don't have the desire to chase this superficial definition of luxury. Habit 4, cut waste, not spending. The common misconception about living a frugal life is that it's about being cheap and then not spending any money, but that is not true. Being frugal is about cutting out the waste in your life. I think that so many people could save hundreds of dollars just cutting out wasteful spending without changing a single thing in their lifestyle. And so the fourth frugal habit for life is cut waste, not spending. The average person wastes so much money on things like takeout lunch for work, Amazon shopping, and overpriced groceries. If the average person focused on cutting all their wasteful spending, they could probably save hundreds of dollars a month without making any drastic changes to their lifestyle. We need to stop wasting so much money and spending money on things that don't provide us anything in return. And as a frugal person, I always make sure that every single dollar I spend is providing me value in my life in some way. And don't just spend money on things that don't provide any value in my life. Habit 5, wake up 1 hour before leaving the house. A lot of people nowadays live very stressful lives where they don't feel as if they have time to do things like prepare breakfast or enjoy their morning cup of coffee. And instead, they just rush out the door and get a quick breakfast and coffee through the drive-thru. But constantly being a rush is very costly and it's very unnecessary. The fifth frugal habit for life is wake up 1 hour before leaving the house. Many people put an extreme amount of pressure on themselves where they're constantly in a rush. But if people just woke up a little bit early, maybe just an hour earlier, then they could do things like prepare breakfast and enjoy their morning cup of coffee. And that would not only save them money, but they would also start their day more peacefully. As a frugal person, although my life is super chill right now, I make sure that I am never in a rush. I'm never leaving the house in a rush, and I always give myself time to do things like prepare breakfast and enjoy the cup of coffee because I don't just save money, but I start the day right. Habit 6, don't deprive yourself. I think that the key to having long-lasting change in your life is creating a healthy relationship with it. Many people fail things like diets because they approach it from an extreme standpoint that they feel as if they're depriving themselves of something. But if you want long-lasting change, you have to create a healthy relationship with it. And the sixth frugal habit for life is don't deprive yourself. Frugality is a lifestyle. It's not something that you do for a short amount of time so that you can seek another life later. No, it's small decisions every single day. And to make something last long term, you have to make sure that you're not depriving yourself. You have to make sure that you're treating yourself on occasion and you don't constantly feel like you're pinching pennies. As a frugal person, I occasionally treat myself to eating out or getting the occasional latte because I enjoy those things and the convenience is nice. And it doesn't really affect me that much financially. And when I do it, I create this more sustainable lifestyle because I never feel like I'm depriving myself. Habit 7, always consider your future self. The thing about personal finance is that it's personal. You ultimately are going to have to deal with the consequences of your actions. If you get in a bunch of credit card debt to impress other people, you are going to have to deal with the burden of that credit card debt. The point of living a frugal life and creating a healthy relationship with money is to make sure that you're looking after your today self and your future self. So the seventh frugal habit for life is always consider your future self. If you make a big financial decision like getting a big house or an expensive car payment, what you're basically doing is you're screwing your future self over. You're creating all these issues that are going to appear later on down the road. And as a frugal person, before making any big financial decisions, I always make sure that it's not going to affect my future self. Before making any financial decisions, I always make sure that my future self is going to be okay. And you have to make sure you do that and make sure that you don't screw yourself, your future self, over. Habit 8, value time over stuff. The average person does not have an abundance of money and resources to have everything they want in life. No, the average person has to make compromises and prioritize what they want in life. And I think that when you really boil it down, we have a decision on how we use our money. We can either use it for stuff or time. And unfortunately, majority of people prioritize stuff over their time. But my 8th frugal habit for life is value time over stuff. Time is the most valuable asset on earth. And if you live a frugal life and don't fall for all these consumerist traps that leave you running on the hamster wheel until you're 65, you will have more money. You will have more control over your time and can do what you want in life. And as a frugal person, as crazy as this sounds, I prefer to not spend my money on a bunch of crap that doesn't provide my life any value so that I have more money to have more control over my life and I can pursue the things that I want in my life, because that is the point of frugality, to use money as a tool to live your best life. And with that, muchas gracias, que tenga un buen día. Video 90, nos vemos chicos.